What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. It's a wide angle day. Steve-O is back in the house.
Hi folks.
No, I've got a new mug too, look. It's all changed on Teespring now, mate.
Ooh.
This is a collector's jobby.
Yes, where's Steve-O?
Can't get that anymore because I lost the graphic for it. Anyway, Steve-O is back in the house to give us a hand getting Asbo on the bench and start sorting out this stupid chain run. However, before we get into it, I wanted to go through the dyno. I've been making changes to the bike and there's a load of questions that's coming through and people wanting an explanation and all that other sort of stuff. So I'm going to run through it. So that's the dyno. I will get a picture and stick it up on the screen. So if you want to screenshot it and, you know, follow along, that's up to you. But at least you'll have it there just for reference. So this was done at Crispy's Dyno. It's a Dyno Pro, I think it was. I can't remember what sort of dyno it was, but anyway, according to this, air temperature was 23 degrees, air pressure 1011.8 bar, and humidity 66.2, and then it rose later on to 73.4. That's when it started tipping down. Well, actually, it's been tipping down all day. But anyway, so if you look at the graph, we've got these first two blue lines down the bottom. That was the first time that we stuck it on a dyno, and that's when stuff went wrong. So what happened was, rode it down there, pulling like a champ. It was doing everything it should do, felt absolutely fine. Stuck it on the dyno, and it started out okay, and then it started to skip a beat, and it sounded like it had dropped down onto 3 cylinders. It hadn't, and we like pulled it all apart, and you know, massive thanks to Crispy for loaning me his tools in the bench and all that. Because otherwise it wouldn't have got done. But it was like pulling HT leads off and it wasn't changing, it sounded exactly the same. So the problem was obviously something else. Had all the airbox off and basically 3 of the slides weren't moving right. One was opening up when you start to build the revs. The others were just kind of fluttering and just sticking there basically. So took all the carbs off, reseated the diaphragms, checked all the vacuum hoses and all that stuff, and that was all fine. Got it going, and then we did the second run. So the second run is the red one, okay? The top one, that's obviously power, the other one is torque. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, right down the bottom, down this bit, if you have a look at that, that's the AFR. So this is air-fuel ratio. And the red is the upper limit, the green is the lower limit. You basically want it in between those lines, and it just ain't. If the AFR reading from the bike is below it, the bike is too rich. If it's above it, it's too lean. And we are rich, like, everywhere. So the way this was set up is the stock jetting on it is a 38 for the pilot. It's a 158 for the main jet. And the air-fuel ratio screw is basically 2 turns out from bottomed out. That is basically stock settings. That's how the factory set it. That's how the Haynes Book of Fairy Tales and the workshop manual tells you to do it and all that stuff. We thought we knew better. So, because it's got the open can, you know, the full system and an air filter on it, the high flow air filter, basically we just, you know, I had words with Spike and stuff like that, and he said, well, you know, go up one, you're not going to be too far off, and you can start tweaking it from there and open up the air fuel a bit. So that's what we did. We went 40s on the mains, 40s on the pilots, 160 on the mains, and the air fuel screw was 2.5 turns out. All right, and that's basically what we got. So looking at it, there is a number of things that's going on, right? The power curve is nice and flat actually. Yeah, there's not a big hole in the middle of it. Normally if you've got a stubby can, you get to about this bit here and you see a big dip in it, and that's just because of the exhaust basically. But it's a nice smooth curve, which I'm quite happy with. It does drop off at the end, where it would be nice if it kind of carried on going. And the torque curve is, you know, reasonably nice as well. It builds reasonably early, holds what it's got, and, you know, builds very slightly as it goes along sort of stuff. But we are rich. We are very rich. Up to 3K, you're on the pilot circuit. So we know that's too big, but looking at the AFR, it's like, well, it's 2 points, 2 and a bit points off basically. So general rule of thumb is one change in jet size. You know, you go up one jet size. That's good for about half an AFR, ish, something like that. So we are way off. And bear in mind, we're only one jet size bigger, but we're essentially 5 jet sizes away on this, according to that.
It's a long way out.
It's a long way out. So we was having a chat with Crispy, and there's a number of things it could be. And what we're thinking is it's the needle seat for the main jet needle, you know, the slide needle. They do wear, so they sort of, instead of being round, it turns into a bit of an oval, and as soon as it doesn't start seating properly, it's leaching fluid past it, you know, leaching fuel into the mix as well. So that could well be why it's running rich. There is a company that do them. It's the only company I've found. They're 20 quid a pop and I need 4, which fine. You know, don't have a problem with that. The only trouble is that they're a press fit into the casting on the carb.
Oh.
I'll get a picture and shove it up. I don't know how best to get them out because it's a casting. It's a cut, and there's, you know, I mean, they're quite skinny. It's a stupid shape. How are you going to get it out? I've never done one.
Percussion spanner.
You're not hitting it. That is not always the answer.
No, I'm joking. I don't know, mate.
I'm not sure if it's a dead vertical thing, so I could, you know, do it in the press or the fly press or something like that. I don't know if you tap them out. I don't know if you have to drill it out so you weaken it enough that you can just poke it out and then press the new one in. I don't know. I've never done it.
No, wouldn't have a clue, mate. Being honest.
So I'm googling that one at the minute. But if that needle seat is worn, we're going to be rich throughout the entire rev range.
Yes.
There's always an overlap between pilots and what the needle influence is, and then needle and the main jets. So up to about 3k, you're basically on the pilot circuit. From 3 to about 7-ish, 7.5, something like that, it's influenced mostly by the needles, and then like right at the top end, that's when you're just on the main jets basically. So yesterday I came in and I made a load of changes because it has fouled plugs. No surprise there. But I've already made the changes to the bike, and this is the first day I'll be riding it sort of with the new setup, so I can't tell you. Well, I can, because I did have a quick go on it.
Did you manage to get different plugs this morning?
Yeah, we'll go through that in a bit. Yeah. So what I've now done is I've now gone completely back to stock. So pilot jet is 38, the main jet is 158, and the air fuel mixture screw is 2 turns out. If that seat is worn, we know we're still going to be rich, and it has fouled plugs a couple of times. So one of the things that Crispy suggested is running a hotter plug in it. So by default, these run a CR9E NGK spark plug, and that's, I got new ones and I stuck them in, and that's what. But those plugs have been in and out so many flaming times. I almost feel the need to do the okey cokey with them. So that little crush washer, I mean, that's properly crushed.
Yeah.
So this morning I got some CR8Es, which is, it's a hotter plug, and hopefully it's going to help prevent the plug fouling up basically. Oh, someone's not happy, look. Oh, go on, let him have a go on the bike. You're not happy, are they? No. We'll get a bit of sunshine and the kids go nuts. Anyway, oh brilliant, now we've got the pressure washer going. And it's not Mrs. Woman with the carpets either.
No.
So anyway, there's all the changes that I've made to the bike so far, and I've given it a wash because it was just like covered in greasy prints and everything else. It does actually look the part. I haven't sorted the tank out yet. I still need to get that done. And the fairing down the side where it had cracked on those mounting bolts, has cracked again. Even though
this
it was
side?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
The one at the very end?
No, you see the 5 black ones all in a line?
Yeah.
Well, you have a peek. It's not good. And that has got like, it's been hot stapled. I've got one of those guns, and it's got an ABS repair kit behind it with all the webbing, and it's still cracking. It's not very good, is it? I think it's just a combination of 32-year-old fairings and coming off and on and off and on and off and on, and heat cycled next to an engine, and God.
You don't need a lot of pressure to break it anyway, do you?
Well,
really?
they're really brittle.
Half a turn and you can crack it.
The bits that have come off, like earlier, you can just easily snap them between your fingers. So I've got another top fairing coming. It is a second-hand one, because, you know, plastic, plastic's stupid on me these days. You try getting one of them. There's not very many about.
No.
So the one I've got coming hasn't got any cracks. It's a C. So youngest it's going to be is 1993. It does need a little bit of tightening up. The paint job on it is horrible. It needs rubbing down and painting it. But I'm just going to rattle can it. I'll get some of that 2K aerosol paint, and we'll do that in the tank. And then I can do what I'm going to do to it, which I'm not telling yet. And then I'll liver it up with some vinyls and whatnot as well, which I'll do at home. So it's going to make it a little bit more funky than it's just plain and boring at the minute. But I do quite like it plain and boring.
I think it's nice.
It needs a little bit of something, but I do quite like it plain and boring like that. It's just simple, isn't it? It's just simple.
You could put shark teeth and eyes on it.
I've seen one like that. That looks stupid. I'm not doing it. I'm not. So anyway, they're the changes that's gone on with the bike, and hopefully it explains some of what you'll see on this. I think if we was to stick it on a dyno now, it would still be rich, because those seats haven't been changed. Yeah. And I think once the seats have been changed, there is still going to be wear in engine bits and carb bits and all that other stuff. There's still going to be some wear in it.
How many years old is it?
Well, it's 32.
32, so...
But it's not done anything in 22 years. It was only the first 10 where it got a spanking.
Yeah, but it's still done a fair amount of miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you would
all the corners have been
all
the corners have been knocked off, definitely.
Bit different to the box of bits, mate, that was collected.
Yeah. So we're going to run it up like this. Once I've sorted out the seats and everything else, I'm going to have the carbs off and I'm going to get them put in. And at that point, I'm going to stick it back on the dyno. Between now and then, I'm just going to ride it and see what it feels like, and I want to put some miles on it and see if it fouls the plug again.
Yeah.
Because if it does, then obviously those little seats need doing sooner rather than later. I'm quite interested to find out what goes on with fuel economy as well. Because, I mean, they give you an MPG in like Wikipedia and all that stuff, don't they? Mm. But then it's got that open cannon air filter on stock jetting with worn carbs, and it is definitely over fueling. I'd like to know how much by.
Well, according to that, quite a lot.
Yeah, but if it was a race bike, for example, we always chucked as much fuel as you possibly could do into it. However, as a road bike, you want to get the AFR sort of between those limits, so you get the best fuel economy that you can get. And petrol prices at the minute, I definitely don't want to know what the fuel economy is going to be. But I'll just ride it like I normally do, and you know, I'll just work out what it is and we'll go from there. I filled up this morning, so we'll just run it and see what's what. But anyway, so there you go. There's all the changes to it. Just going to run it for a couple of weeks and stuff whilst I sort out these needle seats. We'll get them sorted, and at that point we're going to put it back on the dyno. And what I also want to do is a dyno comparison. So I've got to find a day where I can get it on Crispy's dyno, and then
20 degrees with 66% humidity.
Well, it would be nice if it was a little bit cooler and it wasn't raining. Yeah, basically, because I mean you're going to start making some better horsepower. Yeah. Like a nice crisp, like autumn winter's morning, where there's hardly any moisture in the air and stuff. That's when you make good horsepower. Not on a stinking hot sunny day. No. With it tipping down. So, but what we'd like to do is a dyno comparison. So we're going to run it up on Crispy's, and then I'm hoping I'll be able to go to McPherson's, because they're only just down the way as well. And we took the Bandit down there as well, and do literally a back-to-back comparison. So, you know, we'll get a base run, or you know, like the final run. It probably will be the final tune run, I think. We might be swapping out jets if it's, you know, seriously lean, because we replace those seats. But we'll get that done, get a decent run done at Crispy's, so we can see what horsepower he's making, and then just go straight down to McPherson's and just get a power run and an AFR done. So essentially we come up with the same data and just do a comparison. Now theory says they should be exactly the same.
Every dyno's different, we know that.
Well, Spike's dyno in Cambridge is pessimistic as hell, really is. But theoretically it should be exactly the same. This was run on DIN, not SAE. So DIN is basically the standard, you know, it's like the correction standards and all that sort of stuff that they mostly run in Europe. SAE is what they run in the States.
Yeah.
And the States one, it will read different, basically. But all this is horsepower at the rear wheel. It's not at the crank. There's no correction factor. It's just the horsepower this dyno reckons it made on the DIN setting. Right?
Well, I said, when we were messaging earlier in the week, I said to you I thought you'd get about 125 at the rear wheel.
I'm dead tough with 130 as a starter for 10.
Well, considering what he looked like 3 months ago and where it is now.
Well, the engine was in 5 different boxes over there, and some of it was behind the frame.
Yeah.
So, and the engine has been a part of it, because obviously we had to sort the gearbox and stuff as well. But it is my first engine rebuild. So, to put that in context, they made like 150. Well, you said 148. You saw.
Well, I just googled the specs. So I mean, it said 140. Whether it's 148 or 150 doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. But it said 148. Right, I thought it was more than that actually from memory, but obviously not.
Well, just to keep the math simple, then.
Say 150.
150.
15%.
So it reckons that, or chatting with Crispy, it reckons like 15% loss through transmission and various other bits and pieces and all that blah.
There you go, so you got 15, so you got 22.5 brake there, so that would take it down to 127.5.
But we're at 130. So even
and it is massively overfueled.
Yeah, properly overfueled. So I think the fact that we're around what the stock mark would be at the crank, but at the rear wheel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, we've lost bugger all.
No, I say if you get the air fuel ratio right and get that working, that would tend to suggest that, I mean, 140, 145, or even.
I reckon 145, 146.
Because you have got the air filter and the full system.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how.
But I reckon it should get pretty close to the Lion marketing rubbish at the rear wheel. And also, apparently, there's chatting with Crispy as well. If we was to pick a cooler day where it wasn't raining, there's 3 to 5 horsepower there, something like that.
Yeah.
So just picking your day, you could do yourself a few favours.
We all know cool air's more dense. That you get more brake also.
And like if it's tipping down with rain and everything, then there's obviously moisture in the air, and the water vapour in the air displaces oxygen. So you can't burn water, but you can OT, can't you? So just so you know, every time you bounce your foot up and down on that ramp, the camera's like this. Don't do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, main reason for Steve-O being down, his Asbo's going back on the bench, and he is now the main project. Hence, I got my new mug. I haven't done one for Jixit yet. Do I do one for Jixit now, or wait till he's back on the bench?
I think we wait till he's back on the bench.
Yeah, we'll do one then.
I've been doing some work in the garage.
I'll do a Jixit t-shirt as well.
I've been doing some work in the garage. So.
What you done?
Mainly tidying it up and making space. So.
Oh, what, the garage, not the bike?
Yeah.
Right.
So I've got a few more jobs to do tomorrow, and possibly when I get back from holiday with the kids. But I'm hoping that I can then get that engine properly set up on a bench, and I'm thinking of going.
You're going to do the engine?
I think
Don't use my videos that I did on that as any sort of guide. I'm just saying.
Well, I think I'm gonna have a go at maybe taking the engine back to the cases.
Split the cases, yeah.
And then rebuild it.
Get on. You're going to video it. Go on, video it.
I might do. We'll see.
I'll tell you, when I was doing that, there was loads of people chipping in and helping. I mean, like loads of, there's like mechanics of 30 years of people that have owned them for God knows how long and rebuilt them twice and everything. Loads of people chipped in because they like the idea of seeing it on the go.
Do you want to know the last engine that I took apart?
It was probably that stupid GoPed thing that you had.
Oh no, I did take that apart as well. Yeah, no, it was a it was a 50cc single 2-stroke.
Well, imagine 4 of them lined up together.
It's just 4 of them side by side, isn't it? How difficult can it be?
What could go wrong?
How many times have you heard that before? Yeah, so I'm thinking about having a go. So that will probably be the project that will see me through the weekends, going through the winter.
Well, there's a few people in the same boat actually, because there's quite a few fellas that have got a bike. A couple have got one of them that have just been sitting in the corner doing bugger all. And they've been watching the series and stuff. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to get it going. And there's like Monkey Allen. He's done his recent Bandit project and whatnot.
Yeah.
He done a spanky job on that. Mind you, we did go to college and learn how to do it properly.
Right.
But it's like loads of people are doing it, and if you video it, you stick it up, people will help you out, guarantee it. And there's all these little tricks of the trade that they share with you, and it really does help.
The thing is, it's sort of to get started again on Jixit at some point, which we will do.
Yeah, we will.
But it would be nice to have. It would be nice to have the engine.
Stop kicking the bench.
Sorry, boss. It would be nice. It would be nice to have an engine that I know is completely sorted, and it'll also look nice.
Yeah, do it. It's going to save us a truckload of time when we come back to doing Jixit in the long run, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, apart from that, you can do it how you want.
Yeah. But so that's the plan.
Right.
But
so that's it.
But we have a quite an interesting task on our boat today, don't we?
There's quite a lot to get on with that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to end this one here actually. So you are going to film it and you are going to stick it on YouTube, yes? Because if you do a channel, I'll do the engine thing.
I might film it. The thing is, I get involved and I forget to talk. So it's just.
Well, just speed it up and put music behind it. That's all I do.
I'll think about it. I'll think about that.
If you do, I'll set up a channel, I'll link to it, and then all them folks, they can help you out like they help me out. Do it. You know you want to.
You know what it's going to be
you
like.
You can make your own t-shirt.
It's going to be like when Top Gear made the caterer. Look at all these extra bits I've got.
Weight saving. That's just improving stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we're going to leave this video here just because I wanted to go through this just as a standalone. The explanations that I've given you is basically from the conversation that I had with Crispy when we was doing it all. A lot of this stuff I kind of already understood, but it was good to get the explanation from him and the reasoning behind it and what you're aiming for and all that other sort of stuff. So hopefully I got it right. If you think I got anything wrong, drop a comment and I will answer it. I'm still able to go through every single comment, but that's the plan. That's what we want to get done. And when it gets done, you'll see another video and we'll share the results and we'll compare that one to this one. And you can see what the changes made. Ultimately, I'm not after the biggest horsepower number I can get. What I want is a bike that goes like a freight train, which it pretty much does.
It's a pretty talky engine.
Well, I reckon on a nice quiet evening with not a lot of traffic about, when it's nice and cool and it's not raining and you know there's nobody else on the road or any of that lot, so you can kind of do what you want and there's no speed cameras. I reckon you could probably get 152 out of it. Probably. Quite easily. and there is more there. Allegedly.
What's it supposed to top out at?
I don't know. I mean, how many times are you going to do 152? I mean, you got to try these things just to find out.
You can get away with it.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, that's what I reckon it could do. I mean, obviously it never goes over 70. But it would be interesting to see what the difference could be once it's all up there. But like I say, I'm not after the biggest horsepower I can get.
No,
what I'm
after
after is a nice smooth power curve for it to make torque early and basically maintain it.
Which is, that torque curve looks as though it's pretty much doing.
And I want the air fuel mixture basically not lean. So either spot on or a little bit rich. Because that way I'm getting the best fuel economy that I'm going to get.
Yeah,
I'm not risking anything in the engine.
No.
So that's all I'm after basically. So anybody who guessed 130 as your initial run, you're in with a shout of winning a t-shirt, and we'll see what the second one does, and then whoever's closest gets a t-shirt.
Alright, I'll put my bet out there. I shall claim 148 horsepower.
148.
On a cool, crisp day.
Whatever day it is, that's your guess. No, that's your guess. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it for this one. I hope all that stuff does make sense. It does in mine, but I'm rubbish at explaining stuff, so I probably don't now. But anyway, that's where we're leaving it. So thank you ever so much for watching. Do hope you want to stay safe. We'll see you in the next one. Adios! And the next one's like in a couple of minutes, because that's what we're doing now.